Hey y'all, this is ccathy. Thank you so much for joining me again today on my podcast. Last week we talked about my why. So what did you think about it? I know it was long, but I've been writing that for the longest time and I just keep on adding to it. What do you think about pre-prevention? What else? Oh, and your New Year's resolution. How you guys doing with that, right? We're starting into March now. So my why was pretty important to me. I don't think I cussed too much. I don't think I cussed too much. I know I did cry, but it's so important to me. Please comment below on what you thought about it. Negatives and positives, that's fine. I'm trying to grow and trying to learn. But this is my truth. This is my belief. And hopefully you guys are here to join me for the duration. Today we're going to talk about something important. Like I said, it's the most important organ or organ system in your body. So think about a few things. Why do you get sick? What are the causes that you can think about? And comment below. You have bacteria, you have viruses, you have fungi and parasites, or do you have a sluggish immune system that's not able to keep up with all these things? Where is your immune system, by the way? Right, half of you know this, absolutely, because y'all are my friends. Your gut. This is your immune system right here. So how is your gut balanced? How are you going to be balanced? Well, that's why I'm here. Stay tuned and listen, and I'll tell you many, many things. Our microbiome, I'm going to rub it each time too, is our body's ecosystem. If you look upon the human microbiome, which is your gut bacteria as an organ or an organ system, you seem to be able to make it more functional so it'll be beneficial for a healthy individual, right? If you think of it just as what you digest your food and stuff, it just doesn't seem the same. But if you think of it as an organ in your new organ system, like your heart system or your lung system, right? Cardiovascular, pulmonary, you think of it a little bit different. Just know that we have more bacteria than we have human cells in our body. There are trillions of foreign microorganisms compared to about 30 to 35 trillion human cells. We are mostly bacteria, about 90%. Isn't that awesome? We're just made up of all sorts of stuff. Right? Now we can all be called mutts. I'm just kidding. Love any kind of dog, doesn't matter. But it doesn't matter. With the bacteria and our microbiomes, everything has to be a balance. You have to have more good bacteria than bad bacteria. And a balanced microbiome should be a treatment for all of our diseases, all of our illnesses, whether they're chronic or acute, it doesn't matter. Nutrition and your proper digestion is a powerful key to health, to happiness, and a long, productive life. So if you can break down the foods in the forms that can be used and metabolized, and then if you think about it, even used as energy, that's overwhelming. But you know, and everybody knows what your body needs to live. Are you eating the right things? Comment below. I don't always do either. For the foods to be broken down easily, you need the right kind of food, right? And that's why I'm here to teach you, absolutely. You also need plenty of water in between meals, not necessarily while you're eating. And a balanced microbiome also needs really, really healthy oxygen, right? And good gases. When you eat food, your microbiome does many, many things in your body. First, it turns on your digestive system, starting up here with your saliva, right? And then it turns on your activators, and it turns on your digesters, enzymes and stuff like that, things to break things down, your acids, right? And then it takes the nutrients from the food or the fuel or your input, and it feeds your body. And then it feeds your cells. Just remember that digestion also turns on your saving mechanisms. Save those calories. Add that little extra sub-Q tissue. Remember, I don't like the word fat. Add that little extra sub-Q tissue. So too much protein, too much sugar, too many calories, too much cholesterol, all of those contribute to a heavier version of you and puts a big burden on your liver and kidneys and all those elimination systems that we have. Listen to what your body does for you. A podcast coming up very, very soon. Each cell needs an optimal supply of nutritional substances. And I'm not naming all the vitamins and minerals. Maybe someday in the future, we will go over all that stuff. You also need good, fresh, clean water. You need, of course, your carbohydrates, your proteins, your fat, your vitamins, your minerals. You need sunshine. You need fresh air. You need the earth. And you need a positive attitude. Absolutely. That's number one, positive attitude. We also require constant cleansing through the elimination of dead and dying cells, get rid of the toxins that we have in our body, get rid of the waste materials that we have in our body, and the plaques that are forming. We need to get rid of those things. Remember what I said before, over 74% of all Americans have some kind of GI problem. So what about you? Comment below if you want to. You don't have to tell us what you have, but you're part of the family. We're here to help you. So what are we doing wrong? What are we putting in there? In our new-founded organ, our new-founded organism, right? The number one thing that people do is overeat. But don't worry, it might not be all your fault. It might not be all your decision. So it's okay. Stay tuned and find out why that is. What is in the foods that we eat? We got to think about that. What is in the drinks that we drink? Preserved, processed, added color, added sweetener, refined, added toxic sweeteners, GMOs. Watch for my podcast on GMOs too coming up. Foods that our bodies don't need, but yet we crave. But like I said, it might not be you thinking about it. And the list goes on and on of what they put in there. And don't forget, lots of medications, absolutely, which includes vitamins and supplements. All those go together. So how do we change? Did you know that food addiction is the number one most accepted addiction in the world? You know why? Because it has to do with food. But you know what? We're catching up. There's more of us catching up and letting everybody else know what's going on. It is so, so important. Remember, it's not all your fault. So smile about that. Scientists and researchers around the world learned a long time ago that our microbiomes, our bacteria, our new babies, are the access to our brain, right? Our GI tract is actually your second brain. And it talks to your third brain. Your microbiome talks to your third brain and all your organ systems. They don't act separately at all. See, neurons are cells that are found in your brain and in your central nervous system. They tell your body how to act. They tell your body how to behave. There are approximately 86 billion neurons in your brain. Your gut has neurons too. Your gut contains about 500 million neurons. And they connect your brain and your gut together through nerves. Right? And the vagus nerve is one of the biggest ones that works together. It connects the gut and the brain. Right? Maybe it even connects your first brain, which is your heart. Absolutely. All the brains are also connected through chemicals, and those are called neurotransmitters. And a couple of them we need to know about, because remember what I talked about, the dairy products and the casein, how it makes that part of your brain really happy and craving something else and feel good about it, like when you eat chocolate. So serotonin is a hormone that gives that feeling of happiness, and it also controls your body clock. It is made in the brain, in your trillions of gut microorganisms too. So it's made in your brain and your gut. Everything is made together. This is awesome. So GABA, which is an amino acid, is also a neurotransmitter. And GABA controls feelings of fear and anxiety. It is also made in your brain and gut. With these two together, they reduce anxiety and they reduce depression, like behaviors that you have. Your microbiomes also make other chemicals that affect how your brain works. I only gave you 2 examples, so look them up. Comment below, let us know, share with us so we can all learn together. Those 2 are kind of the most important ones to me to let you know. A balance, right? Our microbiome tells us when we're hungry through these pathways. It also tells us when there's something wrong. When there's something wrong with your body, whether it's a headache, your arm hurts, something else, you get upset stomach, you get nausea, you get cramps. Some people get constipation, some people get diarrhea. That means that the bad microbiomes have taken over. So the bads are up here, the good are down here. And that's causing a problem somewhere else in your body. For whatever reason, that's what's happening. And your gut tells you. An increase in the bad bacteria, for whatever reason that you got it from, the food you eat, the input, inhale, absorb. If the bad bacteria is up here, you're never going to feel satisfied when you're eating. You're always going to not be full, even with a full meal. So what do? You keep on eating, and then you keep on having the problems. The more bad microbiomes in your gut that are growing, the more things that you crave. And these things are putting you in the path of sickness and destruction and grief and guilt and possibly an early death. That's why I'm here to help you. We are here to help you, not just me. Can't get you saying me. Remember, I said 60 to 80% of all your cells are in your gut. So basically, your immune system is in your gut. And your gut tells you that there's something wrong pretty much right away. Your immune system is your digestive system. I'm going to say that so many times in so many podcasts until we all get it stuck in our brain. It is so, so important. So your gut brain and your brain, or your second and third brains, are connected through the immune system, right? They control inflammation. They control what passes into the body. They control what is excreted from the body, right? Our bacteria, and hopefully it's our good bacteria, keep a balance in the body. And the balance is the most important thing. Good bacteria up here, bad bacteria down here. It's the most important thing for a healthy aspect of living. There's even 3 major arteries that supply the blood flow to our digestive system. So imagine how important that is. Imagine how many capillaries we have surrounding each organ in our digestive system to keep us healthy and well balanced as far as our nutrition. Listen soon to my capillary and circulation lecture. That's going to be fun. Our microbiome keeps peace in the body. Its healthiness affects every single one of our body systems all together. So how did we receive our microbiomes? You got them from your mom when you were first born, right? Hopefully it was a natural birth and you were breastfed. And hopefully that your mom was very, very healthy during her pregnancy. So if you were born C-section, if you weren't breastfed, you didn't get as much beneficial things from your mom. That's the most important thing. Vaginal births and then breastfeeding set us up for a balanced gut. So how were your kids born? Devin, he didn't have a chance. I was on antibiotics when I was pregnant. I was on antibiotics when I was having him. I had to have an emergency C-section. They took him from me and they gave him 2 different antibiotics in the critical care area because there's a 50% mortality rate. And I didn't know that till he was 13 years old. Even me being a nurse, and I'm a darn good nurse, picking out before he would get sick every single year with pneumonia, breathing treatments, antibiotics, steroids. I still didn't know this stuff until he was 13 years old. I didn't know how you got your microbiome. I didn't really understand it. And my son suffered every single year. He did good, but every single year we watched him not be able to breathe because I didn't know. So hopefully I'm telling you guys, and you do know, and you can change some things. So we didn't get it when we were younger. You can balance out your microbiome and get that good bacteria in your system at any time in your life. Absolutely. Sorry about that. Emotions are just going to get through me sometimes. For almost a century, around 1920s, we've been trying to kill bad bacteria, and that's when antibiotics and stuff came out. But in the process, we've also killed our good bacteria, our microbiome, our new-founded organism, our new-founded organ system with antibiotics, poor food choices, surgeries, and of course, medications. and more medications and more medications. Remember, our ratio of microbiome to human cells is a factor of 10 to 1, and we're damaging the very thing that protects us. Our first line of defense, pretty much, after the skin. Taking one round of antibiotics, and usually that's 10 to 14 days. Sometimes if it's a cavity like your sinuses, you have to take it for a month. But one round of antibiotics can negatively affect your probiotics for over 2 years. One round. So how many times a year do you take antibiotics? Comment below. Absolutely. Comment below. How many times a year do you think you take antibiotics? Comment below. You got to watch my protein podcast coming up very, very soon, and we'll tell you why. There are trillions of bacteria in the intestines. We talked about that, right? There's over 500 strains of probiotics in your intestines. I'm not talking about the bad ones. I'm talking about the good ones. Sorry, my knee's hurting. So there's over 500 strains of probiotics in your digestive system. And there's hundreds of them that actually come and go depending on what food you eat, on what drinks you drink. I know that's kind of weird. I didn't know that either. I love learning all this stuff. But with a healthy gut, our probiotics can produce vitamin K. Yes, the bacteria in our gut produce vitamin K, and vitamin K is very important in blood clotting. Just ask any grandma, grandpa, or anybody on a blood thinner for DVTs or clots or atrial fibrillation. It's very important. And the bacteria also make sure that our calcium is deposited in the right places, our bones and our teeth, and not in our blood vessels or heart valves or in kidney stones. So that vitamin K that's produced in the bacteria in our gut is so important. A good balanced microbiome also helps make antioxidants. And I will have an antioxidant podcast coming up soon too. Antioxidants help fight free radicals. And you get free radicals from eating food when things get broken down to molecules, or oxygen gets broken down to molecules. An accumulation of free radicals causes oxidative stress. An accumulation of oxidative stress over a lifetime leads to disease, illness, and aging. Don't worry, I have a podcast on oxidative stress and free radicals coming up soon. But really, the only way to fight them is with antioxidants. So what are you feeding your microbiome? To get our guts functionally efficiently, we need to make sure that our bacteria are fed, which means exceptional eating habits, and prebiotics. So why do we have and do we need our probiotics, our bacteria, our beneficial bacteria? Because we eat, and we need to eat. And we eat preserved and processed foods too. They have to break down all the food that we eat, our probiotics. So why do we need prebiotics? Well, prebiotics actually make your probiotics healthy if it's a healthy prebiotic. And I'm not saying the pills that we take. You can get a lot of this stuff from the foods that you eat. Because once your bacteria is balanced, good and bad, it'll be so much easier to digest lots of other food. Remember, gut bacteria, our microbiome, our probiotics love fiber-rich food, the things that we don't really digest. It's called the prebiotic. With the help of prebiotics, probiotics, or our bacteria, same thing, makes the intestinal lining stronger. It reduces gut permeability, which means things don't leak into your body. Everybody thinks the colon or in the intestines are, solid organs. No, things can go through. And if you're leaking because your microbiome's not balanced, you're going to be sick. You're going to be nauseous. You're going to gain weight. You're going to get infections. So yes, you need a probiotic, balanced probiotic to help, and you need a prebiotic. You can't just take a good probiotic and not feed it, right? You got to feed your probiotics. You'll be wasting money. And don't say you spent $50 on acidophilus. There's so many core species. What did I tell you? You need a balance. So think about this for a minute. Poor digestion is a main cause of complaints like nervousness, headaches, fatigue. You get chronic ulcers. You can't sleep. You get high blood pressure. You get pain in different areas. You get obesity, which is a chronic, cycling, progressive disease for the most part because we don't change. And you get loss of resistance to diseases and illness that pass your way. One thing I will say about any disease or anti-aging is the bottom line. Out of all the many things that you can do for your health, the number one thing is to balance your microbiome, which means nutrition, your input. And input is foods that we eat and drink, absorption of things, and inhalation of things. It all is used for the body. Nutrigenomics, that means foods for your genes, food for your body, the fuel for your body. The food has to be balanced too. And I've said this before, 1/3 of what we eat actually enables us to live. 2/3 of what we eat enables big food companies and pharmaceutical companies to live. And they wrote that, like I said, in 1950. They knew. Back then, it's 2021, people. Come on. And nobody knows this stuff. Well, now we're going to start talking about it. Preserved and processed foods and refined foods, which means everything's taken out of it, or pasteurized foods, affect all of our organ systems negatively. It decreases our immune systems. It decreases our gut's effectiveness of getting the right nutrients in the right place, and also protecting the rest of us, because things start leaking if it's not closed up. Preservatives actually stop food from being digested on the shelves, right? Or breaking down. So what do you think it does to your digestion? You think you're digesting that preserved food that you ate a little while ago? The preserved and processed foods also gives us a lot of side effects. Disturbs our circulation, disturbs our skin. The fuel is not good enough. You get tired and angry. There's hardly any protection. You get extra sub-Q tissue. You get discomfort. You get unhealthy thoughts. That's all from the food, I promise. Bad input affects all aspects of us. I think I'll be having a podcast on preserved and processed foods too coming up. So just be ready every Wednesday. Love, like, share, and subscribe. Please, please, please. Thank you so much. So onward. The American diet consists of over 90% cooked, processed, packaged, slightly engineered, and preserved foods. They're filled with chemicals, they're filled with preservatives, and they're stored on the shelves for long periods of time before we buy them, before they even get onto the shelves, right? The big food industry spends over $10 billion a year on food advertisements to draw you in, especially your children. Look at the commercials that they watch on Saturday mornings when they're watching their cartoons, right? So I will say it right from the start. Yes, I will say it right from the start and the beginning and the middle and the end. Doesn't matter. We need to eat healthy. Our microbiome is our body's ecosystem. Like I said, it controls all bodily functions. It talks to your brain. I'm sure it talks to the other brain too. I just didn't look that part up too, It also talks to your big toe. Come on, people. A balanced, correct input should be placed at the forefront of all of our health measures. For without this, all the other attempts are going to fail. You go to your doctor for this problem. Yes, you have this, this, and this. And please tell them that you're changing everything. I'm starting to eat healthy. I'm not drinking this anymore because I know it's bad for me. Let your doctors know. And then start with your doctor about what you're going to do, about what is going on with you. Your diet's either going to kill you or it's going to cure you. And definitely it's going to prolong the disease or illness that you have. And it's going to make you age faster. Absolutely it will. If you eat animal products, meat, milk, eggs, cheese, they actually putrefy in your body. They do not ferment, which is what your probiotics love. Prebiotics is fermented food. It putrefies. And putrefaction actually causes acidosis, lactic acidosis. That's one of the biomarkers that we draw in medicine to see how sick you are if you come in with some kind of infection. If your lactic acid is elevated, you're sick. You're sick. You're not just little sick, you're sick. So imagine your microbiome and your body being a little bit acidotic all the time because that food stays in your system for a while. You don't get rid of it right away. Imagine your immune system being a little bit acidotic all the time from the foods that you eat and drink. And in the meantime, like I said, it sits there in your intestines, it rots, it putrefies, smelly gas, smelly poop. That's not a good thing. You shouldn't have that. Absolutely not. Acidosis in your whole body. Especially even worse if you eat the protein with sugar. Wine with steak, baked potato with steak, bread with steak, or chicken, it doesn't matter, meat's meat, right? The sugar slows down the absorption and the digestion of that protein that you're eating. And your good bacteria is probably not going to eat that stuff. Your bad bacteria will. Your bad bacteria love the junk food and love the putrefaction, right? But your good bacteria doesn't. It likes that little fiber and that crunchy stuff. They used to use fermentation in the old days when we didn't have refrigeration. It was a way of preserving food and drinks long before the days of having refrigeration or any coldness or ice or anything like that. But it also is really good for their microbiomes. You know what? Whole foods ferment. Other foods don't. Preserved processed animal products. They take a little bit of time to digest, so your good bacteria, your microbiome, and your immune system can eat to their heart's delight if you have the good fermented food. Fermented food preserves healthy, beneficial bacteria, and it preserves the enzymes and the activators in your digestive system so you can break down your food a lot better. And your gut will be so happy, your skin will be so happy, your mood will be so happy, you know? The healthy bacteria are actually measured in CFUs. Those are colony forming units, right? This refers to the number of active and live microorganisms, yes, that you're eating can be found in each serving of probiotic that you're taking or in the foods that you're eating. And of course, we always think about yogurts. The standard over-the-counter servings of CFUs in supplements and in foods, like I said, in the yogurts that you eat, range from 1 to 10 billion. Sometimes you can find a little bit more. Just make sure that yogurt doesn't have any extra sugar in it or extra flavoring. Greek yogurt, there's a really good Greek yogurt that you can have. You can add your own berries and stuff to it. I'll name some more a little bit later too. Fermented foods tend to be higher in CFUs and have better probiotics than their raw or pickled counterparts. So you can do pickling, that's kind of brine and vinegar, but fermented actually uses bacteria and yeast. Yeah, a little yeast is okay for you to break down the foods. These are all different. So the fermented ones are actually better. That is your prebiotic. Your probiotic saying, yes, please feed me that. These foods are really seasoned, sometimes spicy. You don't usually eat those with your as being your whole meal. They just kind of accompany and help break down the food that you're actually eating. I love kimchi. That's a prebiotic and a probiotic. I can eat that anytime, but most people probably wouldn't talk to me because it's really spicy and really garlicky. Yeah, so kimchi is one of the things that I love to eat, and I can put that on the side of any meal, even on the side of a salad. Absolutely. Just like anything else in life, though, too much of a good thing can be harmful. So you don't want to take too many probiotics. And once your microbiome is balanced, good bacteria, bad bacteria, you might not need to take it every day, especially if you're eating well. You know, too many probiotics can strip your gut. They can strip your intestines of the natural and healthy bacteria that you already have in there, because good bacteria can be overwhelming too sometimes. That means a lot of extra time in the toilet. You know what I'm saying? Think about this too. My friends do know this. If you go to the bathroom once a day, you're not cleaning out your gut. It's sitting in there. You can hold up to 50 pounds of extra weight in your gut from food, just being layers and layers on your intestines. Absolutely. Those little men that walk around with a big belly. You need to go to the bathroom 2 or 3 times a day. You eat your food, you use it, and it goes through you. And your farts don't smell as bad because you're not eating bad animal products and processed foods, right? And your poop doesn't smell as bad because it hasn't been sitting in there putrefying instead of being digested. According to a recent Cleveland Clinic survey, about 60% of American women and 46% of American men believe that their metabolism is being sabotaging, their weight loss goals. Their metabolism is sabotaging, not what they're eating. So they work out really, really hard. They think they're eating right. And like I said, it's not all your fault. Wait till the label lecture podcast that we have. They're limiting their calories. Like I said, they're trying to be positive, but they're not losing any weight because it's their input, it's their environment and their energy. You can work out for hours in a day, but if you come home and sit on the couch and eat Doritos, that doesn't do any good. Your bad bacteria are taking over and you're going to crave something else and it's going to hold on to that weight. That throws working out right out the door. Don't even do that. Besides, anyway, exercise is 5% of your health. 95% is what you eat. 95% is your input. The only true health insurance that's free is a well-fed, balanced microbiome, right? Comment below. Absolutely. They did a recent study where participants actually worked out for 30 minutes, 3 days a week for about 6 weeks. And then it actually showed that many of those participants, because they tested their stool, experienced an increase in certain microbiomes in the gut. And those microbiomes reduce the risk of inflammatory diseases like diabetes and other problems, heart disease, and they recovered faster. Just working out actually does that. Absolutely. But you also need to do the right type of exercise to get gut healthy benefits. And that actually means not too vigorous and not too long. You don't need that. Watch my podcast soon on exercising. Might as well throw one of those in there too. Absolutely. I have things written down all over the place. Some things that you can avoid to promote your gut health. Of course, drinking too much alcohol is not good for any part of your body. Too much stress. Some people have a lot of stress, but you can change the way that you react to that stress. Lack of sleep. There's lots of things people can do. I'll probably be interviewing people about sleep and all those things. Smoking. I am not doing a podcast on that because you all know better. Lack of physical activity. I'm sorry, I love you. Refined sugars, refined foods. Taking antibiotics and also taking acid blockers like your Tums and your Tagaments and your Prilosec. What other medications do you take? Another important situation of an unbalanced microbiome or poor microbiome is there's a longer period for you to be able to absorb all the medications that you're supposed to be taking. You know, your doctors and pharmacists don't really take into account that. But if you're not balanced, that blood pressure pill that you're supposed to be taking twice a day, that might not be kicking in and getting dissolved like it's supposed to. Let your doctor know that. Let your doctor know. So I got some foods that are good and high in CFUs for your gut, you know. And like I said, you don't need to eat a lot of this, just a little bit. So sauerkraut, and there's lots of ways to make sauerkraut, so it tastes really good. Asparagus, don't worry about it. Drink water. That smell only lasts for a little while. Pineapple, garlic, broths, apple cider vinegar. Don't drink it alone. Kimchi, of course, yummy. Ginger and the yogurts. Remember what I said about yogurts? And there's more too. Comment below. Let us know some more. And then we have foods that are rich in prebiotics. Lentils, chickpeas, beans, oats, nuts, Jerusalem artichokes. I specifically named those. Bananas, onions, leeks, yogurts. Just make sure, like I said, the yogurt is not pasteurized. That just means it's dead. And there's a lot more. Please comment below. Comment below. Love, like, share, subscribe. Absolutely. We need more people to learn this stuff. So 60 to 80% of your cells are in your guts. So your immune system is in your gut. Rub your gut. Give it a hug. Oh my goodness. Our microbiome keeps a balance in our body, and we need to be balanced. A balance is the most important aspect for a healthy living. So what are you going to change this week? Write it below. Let us know. Write it in your little book. Absolutely. You got your book out? What are you going to change this day? What are you going to change with this meal if it's too overwhelming to think about that? Write it in your book for today's lesson, whatever it is good, you know? How many times are you going to rub your beautiful belly today, your new-founded microbiome, your new-founded organism, and say, I'm healthy and I'm balanced and I'm on my way to getting better? Come on, comment below. Balance those babies out. Be happier, be healthier. And actually all those positive things associated with living will come to you. I promise. So I will see you next week when we talk about our building blocks, the building blocks of our bodies. So please love, like, subscribe, and share. Love, like, subscribe, and share. You try to say that fast 5 times. Love, learn, and take control. Make sure you write in your notebooks the date today and the things that we talked about in the exercises. And please start commenting below. Even do little videos. Put them below so we can see how great that you are doing to be healthy. Thank you so much. I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And I will talk to you next week. Bye.